touchdown. And he flips the ball to Rowdy to do with what he will.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we are doing the reach around video where I'm going to reach around for a player that I just gotta have, essentially my must-have players. Now granted, since there are 18 rounds in a fantasy draft, we're only going to do the first 6 rounds today. But if you guys like the video, make sure you leave some thumbs up, comment down below that you want a part 2 to this video, because then I'll do round 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in a separate video. But without further ado, let's get into it. We'll go in order, rounds 1 through 6. Round 1 being Nico Collins, who really, this was kind of hard for round 1 because there isn't any players that are just like sitting in the second round that I got to have round 1, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, one of the players was Devon A-Chain, but he recently just came up with a soft tissue injury, and I just took him off my board entirely. I mean, any player, running back, receiver going into the season with a bad, soft tissue, bad ankles, stuff like that, I just can't do it. I'm sorry. And we're already going to get enough injuries as the season goes along. So if you're going into the season with an injury, I just can't trust you, and especially with that high of a draft capital. So like him as a player, but I just can't do it this year. Nico Collins was sitting around 14 overall in ADP. He's climbing up now to like 11, 12. But he's bottom of the first round, so he's kind of a reach around player. If you're in the 6, 7, 8, 4, 5 slot in your drafts, you could easily get Nico Collins. Number 1, the elite efficiency with Nico Collins, 2.94 yards per route run. Okay. And you combine that with the fact that he is the alpha on the Houston Texans. They have no competition for that number 1 receiver job. They got the rookie Jaden Higgins in there, who's a nice player. They drafted another rookie as well in the 3rd round, and they brought in Christian Kirk, who really is completely irrelevant. I don't know why the hell they even did that. But there's nobody competing for that alpha number 1 receiver role on the Houston Texans. It's strictly Nico Collins. And in today's game, that's really a rare thing where you just have the guy he's an alpha and there's zero competition. Like even, A.J. Brown's a number 1, right? But Devontae Smith's a respectable player to where he could not really be a number 1, but he could sometimes serve as a 1B. Same thing with, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is obviously the number 1, but, T. Higgins is still right there commanding a good amount of targets. Nico Collins has a 24% target share. Last year in 2024, 24%. That's huge. Okay. 83 receiving yards per game. This guy, if he didn't get hurt, I mean, we're talking about a player that would have been the number 1 overall player in fantasy. Okay. He was on pace to basically be better than any receiver in the league. He was getting a touchdown and 100 yards every game, it felt like. And when you look at the connection, if you had Nico Collins on your team last year, which if you guys had my draft board last year, I recommended Nico Collins in the early 2nd round over guys like Marvin Harrison, and I don't even know at this point. I'm already so soaked in this year. I don't even remember last year, but he was a pretty high pick. I got him in all my leagues, and he was doing really well for me until the injury happened. But the connection with C.J. Stroud is there. Okay, they're going into their 3rd year. These guys have a connection. He's probably the only receiver on that team that C.J. Stroud really trusts. I mean, the second receiver that he would trust a lot is Tank Dell, and Tank Dell's not going to play the entire season. So C.J. Stroud's going to be counting on Nico Collins a whole lot to be the reliable, dependable go-to target. And there's really not a lot of, true number 1 receivers, guys. I mean, look around the entire landscape of the league. Every team has somewhat of not every team, but 90% of teams have somewhat of a number 2 receiver out there. Okay. And if they don't, usually it's just because the receiving core overall isn't that good. Like, take New England for an example, but there's really a rare case here where we have a great number 1 receiver and you just don't really have anybody else competing for that number 2. Now, I think Higgins, the rookie, could be a good player, but he's a rookie. We just don't know that yet, and the trust is nowhere near the same as it is with Nico Collins. So Nico Collins, I think, is an absolute must-have in the 1st round. I don't have him ranked over guys like Neighbors and Puka, but I'm starting to warm up to the possibility of doing that and making him sort of a mid-round 1 pick. As long as this guy stays healthy, the sky is the limit. Go grab Nico Collins. My round 2 reach around player is Chase Brown, and do I have a lot of shares of Chase Brown on Best Ball, and I definitely will have some shares of him when I carry, over to my home league drafts. This guy is an absolute workhorse. Now, when you look at his frame, a 5'10", 195 type player, not really a guy that you would think, man, this is an alpha workhorse running back. But look at the second half of last year, weeks 9 through 17. This guy was a do-it-all running back. 24 touches on average per game in the second half of last season. Touches mean attempts and receptions combined. This guy was an absolute workhorse statistically, which really, that's all that matters. This is fantasy. That's what counts. 24 touches per game, 116 yards total per game. This guy was the RB4 in the second half of the season. And considering that this offense is going to be elite still, as long as the offensive line can hold up, you have an elite quarterback, you got receivers there. This guy is an absolute must-have. He's also going to be worked in, outside of Chase Higgins. This guy is going to be the third target on that team. The receivers they have below those two receivers, I mean, Yosivas and Burton, those guys really just, they're up and down. They're really not reliable guys. Tight ends, I know they brought in Noah Fant, Gesicki. Those guys are just kind of bleh. I mean, they're really not going to change the game. Chase Brown's going to be that third target on the team. And when you look at last year where he had 54 catches, I mean, this is perfect for PPR leagues. I mean, this is exactly the type of running back you want. When you're looking for those early running backs, McCaffrey's, A-Chain, assuming he was going to be healthy. These are the guys that are not only going to have 15 carries per game, but they're going to get you 4 to 5 catches per game, and that's going to add up over the course of the season. This is exactly what you want from Chase Brown. And then take a look at this from his offensive coordinator, Dan Pitcher, basically giving him a high praise here. I think they're going to look to make him a focal point, and looking at the depth chart as well, I mean, they have confidence in him. They didn't bring anybody in. They brought in Taj Brooks, who I could see being a good player, more of a guy. I can honestly see him being a goal line back, which might be a little bit of a concern, but that's my only concern. Taj Brooks is not going to be anywhere near the field on passing downs. I mean, maybe it's some blitz pickup here and there, but Chase Brown to me is going to be in the game 80% of the time. And he's going to be the guy that's going to be carrying the torch. I think this is a smash, must-have. He's ranked like 32 overall on Sleeper right now. Same thing on the worldwide leader. You're getting him an underdog. He's creeping up to the 20, 21 overall. Every time in the middle of the second round, I'm basically picking this guy. Assuming that, Drake London and, Ladd are gone. I mean, I'm going to pick Chase Brown every single time over any other running back. Really, to be honest with you guys, the only running backs I would take over Chase Brown in the entire draft, probably Bijan, Gibbs, Gianti. I don't have Saquon on my board, and then I would say A-Chain, but he's really not. He's not healthy. So I mean, Chase Brown, go get him. You got to have him. Perfect running back to have as your RB1. The next guy I want to talk about, I went viral for basically knocking him. Now, I've definitely changed my stance a little bit, not as how he is as a player, but just my overall outlook for this player in fantasy. And that's Omarion Hampton, my round 3 reach around player, who really isn't too much of a reach around because he's starting to climb up to the round 3. Some drafts I've seen him at the 2-3 turn, but on home leagues, he's still down at 43, 44 overall. I think it'll change a little bit, but he's considered right now in those platforms a reach around type player. What's changed a lot since I put out that video is Najee Harris. I mean, he's totally a non-factor now, and I've said this in the last couple of videos. I just don't think Najee Harris is going to play. I mean, we haven't seen him put on pads at all in 2 months almost. So to me, I mean, there's no competition for this RB1 job, and we're in a league now where that's pretty rare. I mean, just like what I was talking about with Nico Collins, I mean, there really aren't a lot of workhorse running backs that have zero competition. Honestly, the only 2 guys that I see above Omarion Hampton are Saquon and Chase Brown. I mean, there's really not a lot of cases out there where it's just clear-cut, zero competition. I mean, even Jahmyr Gibbs has Montgomery. Robinson has Algiers. In this case, there's no competition. He's going to get pretty much every single snap at running back. And I may, call me a volume whore, but I love that. When I know that's the case for a player where he's going to be on the field every single play almost, I got to have him on my team just because the upside is through the roof. I mean, you don't know what this guy's ceiling is. He's going to have an opportunity every single play to make a play and add to his stat sheet. Okay, combine that with the fact that you look at his college production. The guy has shown that he can handle 25, 30 carry games. Considering that he's going to be the only running back there, that's actually going to play to his advantage. So, funny enough, I'm making the argument for him in that case. But there's two sides to every single argument, I believe. Anyway. He can handle these big workloads, and I don't see him as a guy that could potentially break down. I see as a guy, he'll get stronger as the season goes along. Considering he's a rookie with fresh legs, he'll pick up as the season goes along, and as long as Najee Harris, stays on the sideline and does whatever, which we don't really know what the hell he's doing right now. But third reason for drafting Omarion Hampton, in that 2-3 turn, round 3 overall, is the fit. Okay. Harbaugh is going to run the football. Greg Roman loves running the football. All right. And that's probably the number one argument I'll make for Omarion Hampton. These guys, they're run-first coaches. They believe in running the football. That's what they did when they worked for the 49ers back in the day. Harbaugh was big on running the football while he was at Michigan. Even with the situation as is, they're going to run the football. That's just what they are as coaches, okay? Last year, with their running back situation being absolutely terrible with Dobbins and Gus Edwards, they still were giving Dobbins 20 carry games. Omarion Hampton can easily pick that up and probably do more than Dobbins. So just off that fact alone, this guy's going to be a super relevant fantasy player. You be honest with you, I'm going to, people are going to go back to that freaking TikTok and kill me, but I'll say this right now before the season starts, not to cover my ass, but I truly believe this, that given the situation, okay, if they have Rashawn Slater, I would definitely feel this way, but there's a chance he could win Rookie of the Year. Okay, just off the fact that he could probably outproduce a lot of running backs, maybe even in Genti, just off yards total, just because of the opportunity he's going to have in front of him. So, listen, if Omarion Hampton's there in the third round, even myself, I'm going to get him. My round 4 reach around player is Courtland Sutton, who, always I've found to be a talented player, but it took him 7 years, it felt like, to finally get a quarterback. And now he has his quarterback, and I think he's going to flourish. He got a big contract this offseason, $20 million a year. And I think the Broncos paid him because they finally know that this guy can be the receiver one after seeing him finally work with the real quarterback. Similar to Nico Collins, not much competition for taking, his wide receiver one alpha role. Jerry Jeudy's not there anymore. Marvin Mims is technically the receiver too, and I like Marvin Mims as a late round player, but we still haven't seen Marvin Mims be a guy. I mean, being a full-time wide receiver too. I think he can be the guy, but we still haven't seen that yet. And, and their third receiver, I believe, is, Pat Bryant, the rookie, and Troy Franklin from last year. Those guys are okay, but Courtland Sutton is the guy, okay? Courtland Sutton is the guy that they're going to go feed this passing game through. And you look at the prototype of Courtland Sutton, 6'4", okay? Big-time red zone target, 18 touchdowns over the last 2 years. This guy was a monster in the red zone, and that's really, that's pretty rare for a lot of these receivers out there. A lot of teams, when they get to the goal line, look from the Eagles all the way down, they're going to want to pound the ball in through the running game. But Courtland Sutton is one of those rare players where he can win in the red zone, and I think that's going to pay dividends a whole lot when it comes to fantasy. Looking at the target share with Courtland Sutton, literally the same thing as Nico Collins, 23%, and 45% air yard share. So this guy, he's the go-to guy. I mean, the numbers indicate it. The depth chart indicates it. The contract indicates it. There's really, what else do you want from this guy? I don't know. I don't see why he's not a round 2 to 3 type player. He's a wide receiver 1. I mean, maybe it's just because he's been in the league for a long time now, and people are just kind of like, yeah, Courtland Sutton, because they're so used to skipping over this guy. But his situation is totally different now. This guy has a real quarterback to work with. He's never had that up until last year. And the second half of last year, he finally demonstrated what he could do when he has a real quarterback. Okay, so now he's going to get a full off season of chemistry with Bo Nix. Bo Nix is going to enter his year 2. I'd like to say he could be better, but we don't know. Year 2 regression is imminent. But I'll say with the way that Bo Nix plays as a true pocket passing quarterback who looks to run second, I think he could definitely, improve. And he's got one of the top quarterback coaches with Sean Payton. So combine all these factors together. I mean, I don't see why Courtland Sutton is a round 3 pick. I mean, I think it's ridiculous that you can get him in some drafts in the 5th round. I've been getting him every single 4th round. Maybe it's just not sexy. Maybe, George Pickens and, Marvin Harrison guys, or Marvin Harrison's probably gone by then, but George Pickens and Xavier Worthy, those guys are just more sexy names and people want to take them there. And I'm not against those guys at all, but those guys aren't number 1 receivers. Courtland Sutton is the number 1 receiver. So I just think this is something so clear cut that people are overlooking, and maybe I'm wrong, but what am I missing with Courtland Sutton, guys? Let me know in the comments below, because I don't know. Go grab Courtland Sutton if he's there in the 4th round. My round 5 reach around player is Chris Olave. We've already talked about Chris Olave a couple of videos ago. If you guys haven't, go watch the 6 Forgotten Players video. We featured him in that video. And I'm going to just kind of repeat the same argument now if you haven't seen that video yet. But I think we're just over. I mean, I get it. The Saints quarterback situation is pretty terrible. Okay, we don't really know what we're going to expect out of Tyler Shuck. But I'm going to tell you what, Chris Olave in the 6th round, 5th round, I think is just way too low. All we're looking for with receivers is just to get to right around that 1,000 clip mark when you're picking them in the 5th to 6th round. Just get right around 1,000 yards. Chris Olave has gotten 1,000 yards every single year he's been healthy. And, granted, Derek Carr is probably a better quarterback than Tyler Shuck. But, what is Derek Carr really that good? Like, let's be real. I think there's a chance that Tyler Shuck can support fantasy receivers. I don't think it'll result in wins or anything like that, but I think there's a chance he'll be good enough to where he could support receivers for fantasy on a baseline subliminal level. And that's really all we're looking for with Chris Olave. I think his talent alone will be able to make him just stand out enough to where he could outperform a lot of his players near his ADP. 87th percentile versus man coverage. I mentioned that in the last video. That's one of the highest percentiles in the entire league. This guy is truly an elite talent. And then you look at the fact that, Kellen Moore's coming in. He's all about fast pace. He wants to run plays. And I don't really know what the Saints defense is going to project for next year. But what I do know is that Kellen Moore wants to run a whole lot of plays, and that's more opportunities. All right. I mean, I could definitely see Tyler Shuck as a rookie throwing for some 40 pass attempt type games. And, if he's throwing for that sort of volume, Chris Olave is going to get at least 8 or 9 of those targets. Okay. And probably convert it into 6 or so catches. You only got to get so much to be a 5th, 6th round player. I think a lot of people, what happens is with Chris Olave, he got, if you picked him last year in the 2nd, 3rd round, you got burned. Okay, you got absolutely torched. He cooked your team, right? So going into this year, people see Chris Olave and they say, screw him, man. Screw him. He messed me up last year, man. And I'll probably say a few more expletives, but you get the point. He burned me last year. Screw him. I'm not picking him this year. F him, right? That's how you lose fantasy, okay? Last year's last year. Don't let your fragile ego carry that into this year and be like, oh, man, I can't do it anymore. All right, screw him. That's not a way to think in fantasy. That's how you get beat. It's a new slate every single year. Look at this guy for what he has to achieve. He has to just get to 1,000 yards. That's it, and he satisfies your ADP in the 5th to 6th round. He can easily do that. Go grab Chris Olave. My round 6 reach around player is Jordan Addison, who's officially got ruled for a 3-game suspension. So his ADP is now sinking to around, honestly, it's more in the 7th round now. I mean, he was more of a 6th round player, but he's falling out, and I'm just grabbing him every 6th round, 6-7 turn. Give me Jordan Addison. Okay. This guy has already proven back-to-back years that he had 1,000 yards, 19 touchdowns in 2 seasons. And considering that this guy is, 6 feet tall and what looks like 160 pounds. I mean, he's one of the skinniest players in the entire NFL. This guy's a hell of a player. I mean, he's not like he's boxing guys out and going up and making some big-time catches, but he's slippery. He's got great route running. He gets open. He's a very quarterback-friendly player, and he's playing opposite one of the best receivers in the NFL, to where he's going to receive man coverage, 95% of the time, or not even, man, just he's not going to, their eyeballs are not going to follow Jordan Addison. 2 to 3 guys, all the safeties are going to be looking over at Justin Jefferson, and this guy's going to come damn near wide open because people are not paying attention to Jordan Addison. Defensive coordinators are going into the game against the Minnesota Vikings saying, hey, we need to stop Justin Jefferson. We need to stop Justin Jefferson. So you drill it into those defensive players' minds. They're not really worried about this guy. I mean, sure, the guy that's assigned to him might be worried about this guy, but the guys on the back end are not worried about Jordan Addison. Okay, so this guy in a great situation. Really, the only thing that you can knock this guy for is the 3-game suspension. That's it. All right, his rookie year, he was on fire with Kirk Cousins, and then Kirk Cousins got hurt, and he had to go through the carousel of Josh Dobbs and what the hell is the other guy's name? Mullins, I think is his name. He had to go through those 2 guys, and he still managed to get over 1,000 yards and have some pretty okay production with, guys that are totally irrelevant as quarterbacks. Last year with Sam Darnold, same thing, over 1,000 yards, almost 10 touchdowns. And, J.J. McCarthy, who the Minnesota Vikings, I would assume, think is a better player than Sam Darnold. And at the very worst, if he's not a better player, with the coaching, the quarterback pixie dust of KOC, their head coach, he's going to eventually become a better player. Okay? Jordan Addison I already think he's a great player. And, if McCarthy could be a good quarterback, which I think McCarthy will be a decent quarterback in this league, why would this guy be a 7th-round pick? Just because he's serving a 3-game suspension? I mean, it's 3 games. Not that bad. Not that much, okay? You have him as your wide receiver 5. You have 4 other guys you could rely on. You hope to God no injuries happen in the first 3 weeks of the season. Even if you get out of week 3, 1 and 2, you're going to get this guy back and start him every single game. He's a clear-cut wide receiver 2 on a very good team. All right, then that honestly might be the only concern for Jordan Addison is the fact that he's on a very good team with a good defense to where they're not going to be going back and forth, in some of these games. And they're probably bringing in Jordan Mason. They're going to be a little bit more of a balanced attack. But then you make the other argument that, hey, look at the play action game that this could open up for, J.J. McCarthy if they actually get a respectable running game going with a 1-2 punch with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. You could be looking at a really nice play action game. And that's where Addison could easily flourish, if there's only one guy he's got to beat. But this guy has shown that he's very almost quarterback proof in a sense, similar to Justin Jefferson. I'm not saying he's the same player as Justin Jefferson, but this guy's proven already, at 23 years old. I mean, this guy's a baby, okay? 23 years old entering this 3rd year that he could play. And it's not like he's stopped growing and he's hit his peak. This guy's only growing as a player. He hasn't really even hit his prime yet. Go grab Jordan Addison. Don't worry about a 3-game suspension. It's 3 games. You'll get through it. You'll be okay. Okay? Injuries happen where you guys miss 4 or 5 games. This guy's not even hurt. He's going to sit down for 3 games. He'll be okay. Go grab him in 7th round if he's there. Go grab him in the 6th round if he's there. Okay? And that's it. There you guys have it. If you guys haven't already, please link down below. If you want to know my 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th round players right here, right now, link down below. Go get the Showtime Fantasy Draft Guide. $20 to beat your buddies. Not really asking for a whole lot. If you guys want to check out my TikTok and you keep going, look to the end of the video. There'll be a little promo code there. I can't tell you now because the promo code might change, but make sure you guys follow on TikTok because I'm constantly giving out promo codes for a discount on the draft guide. And, it'll be even less than $20 to be your buddies. But, hey, go buy my guide. Go buy 2 or 3 other your favorite analyst draft guides. Compile them together for your master consensus rankings, and there you go. Okay, you have your own consensus rankings, and you can make the executive decision yourself as if you're the GM for your team, which you are. You don't have to just rely on me. You can rely on anybody else you want and make your own consensus master decision. All right, that's the way I would do it, which is why I'm only making it $20. I'm making it so everybody can have it. So go ahead, show some love if you like this video and support that. If you don't want to do it, at least leave a like and maybe say you want part 2. But until then, see you guys in the next one. Peace.